Hello, and today we've got this. This is a new one. Boing. It's got one of those wobbly tremolo arms. What is this? This is a Fender Vintera 2 Bass 6 in Lake Placid blue. This is new. This is new out. This is fresh. This is so fresh. Wow, it's amazingly fresh. I've got to pull up the deets. Yeah, so what they've done is they've gone back. This is a 60s style. That's what Vintera is. It combines two words, vintage and era. Vintera. You say Vintera, I say Vintera. And let's call the whole thing off. And it's in the delightful Lake Placid blue. You can also get it in, I think it's Fiesta red. I'm looking at the page whilst I talk to you. I've got the page up, and it's the 60s Bass 6. Okay. What's the spot? Let's talk about the specs. All the body, gloss polyester finish, maple neck with slab rosewood fingerboard. Now this is the buy-in point, because Fender have finally gone back to using rosewood again, though you have to pay a premium for it. And so we have a lovely rosewood neck on this. What else have we got? It's got a mid-60s C neck shape, scale length of 30 inches, 7 1/4 inch fingerboard radius, 21 frets, vintage tall fret size. Okay, synthetic bone nut, and we've got the truss rod is at the at the business end. So yeah, if you want to adjust the relief on the neck, you're gonna have to take the neck off, or or I don't know. I don't think they don't make a big enough gap on the scratch plate for you to get anything in there. So yeah, you're gonna have to kind of either tilt the neck off or take it off completely to get to that. Thanks. Some people prefer it. I prefer it up the other end because it's just easier to get to. But yeah, it's the pickups. These claim to be vintage style Bass 6 single coil pickups. What we've got here, and volume and tone controls. again, the interesting thing about the Bass 6 is it has a almost like a Jaguar style control panel here, with those three being the neck, middle and bridge switches. So switch them on and off, so you can have them all pickups on or all of them off. That would be a silent guitar, so you wouldn't want to do that, but you have a lot of tonal variety. And then this little button, this little piggy at the end here, this little button is a strangle switch, and so it kind of gets rid of all those bass tones and makes it more trebly, almost guitar like, though it's unlike any other sound I've heard. But on the demos you hear, I do switch that on and off, so you get an idea of that. The tremolo arm is one of those pushing ones, which again I'm not too fond of because it swings around a bit, and it's got the bridge. The bridge is what does it describe the bridge as? Does it say? It just says 6-saddle vintage style adjustable with floating tremolo tailpiece. But we'll come on to that later. I'll talk about that in a minute. So yeah, we have the bass cut, low cut switch there. I've done that. What else to say? The Bass 6 is an interesting instrument because it was all over records in the 60s. You heard this everywhere, from the Beatles, the Beach Boys, you name it. The Bass 6 was everywhere because it was a predominantly 60s instrument before the 4-string bass that we know and love now. This was often in the studio, and again, if you're a guitarist who doesn't play bass, it's easy to pick this up and get an approximate bass sound out of it. You can also play it like a guitar, but with a whole tonal range lower, octave lower than a bass. Than a guitar. So yeah, it's an interesting instrument to have in your arsenal. I'm a big fan of them. I'm not a newbie when it comes to Bass 6s. I've got a Squire Bass 6, and I've also got I've done videos on these in the past. Pawn Shop version, which was out 10 years ago. So it's been 10 years since the Pawn Shop Bass 6 was out that Fender have decided to bring this out. Squire have had a Bass 6 range for a while now. They had their vintage modified Bass 6, which is the one I've got, and the more recently classic Vibe. The difference between those is again the lack of a rosewood board. You get the rosewood fretboard with the vintage modified. So yeah, what do I think of it? What do I think? Yeah, it's a Bass 6. It's all you can want. It's all you can want. If you're looking for the Bass 6 experience, this is it. The only thing I might say is to do with the bridge here. we have this, what they call classic vintage style bridge, but you probably want to swap that out for a Mustang style, and that's what I did with my Squire one, because it just adds a little bit more stability, because the strings can, if you can see that, can move on here, and if you're a heavy player you can knock the strings off the bridge completely. I'm not that kind of player, but other people can have that. But I also find a Mustang bridge being a little bit more stable. You know, you can also get the intonation dialed in a bit better with that style of bridge. So I'm surprised, but I suppose it's meant to be Vintera, you know, Vintera, vintage style. So I may consider swapping that out for a Mustang style bridge in the future. Though there's no problem with the intonation with this one. With Squire there was a real big problem, but that's just for another. We're not talking about that. Other than that, I mean, again, it's good to see the Bass 6 in the Fender lineup again, because, you know, I think it's a very important guitar to have. You know, it's a historical guitar, and it's also, I think, for, you know, guitarists who aren't bass players, it's a good way of them having a bass sound in their arsenal without necessarily doing it. My only criticism of these is, again, with everything in this world, the Fender prices seem to be going skywards, and this is more money than. Again, I'm thinking back to when the pawn shop Bass 6 was out 10 years ago, and this is nearly double. This is nearly double that price, and I think, again, a lot of the prices on these guitars are going a little bit crazy. But yeah, other than that, I think it's a great guitar. I think it's pretty good. You know, it makes all the right noises for a Bass 6. I'm trying to think of something critical to say of it. The action is a little bit high. I haven't really tweaked it. This is out of the box. You know, I haven't fiddled around with it yet, because I thought I'd show you what it was like straight out of the box. But yeah, the action's a little bit high. But it can be that way. The Bass 6 has a certain looseness, certain slackness to the strings, so you do need a relatively high action. But yeah, I thought, you know, out of the box it was a good player. It sounded just right. The question is it better than my bass, my Bass 6 Squire edition? And that is another video, isn't it? That will be another video. We'll do a shoot off, because I do have in my possession at the moment my Squire Bass 6 and the pawn shop Bass 6 as well. So yeah, we could do a little three-way shoot off. Keep your eyes out for that. Hopefully when I've recovered from, I've got a bit of a stinking cold at the moment. Hopefully when I've recovered from the cold, I have the energy. It's knocked me out just doing this. But Sympathy. Give me your sympathy. Give me. I got caught in a rainstorm yesterday. Got soaked to the bone, and it made me feel very ill. And I had a cold as well. So it's just sympathy. Sympathy. Send sympathy now. But yeah, hopefully you've heard some of the noises it makes, and it's enlightened you to what this does. It's a remarkable instrument, and I really like it. The only thing is, I'm not a big fan of the colour. Should have done a sunburst. A sunburst, that would have been nice. But yeah, it's Lake Placid blue. I already have a red one. I have a black one. Now I've got a blue one. Just being greedy. Thank you for watching. This is the Fender Vintera 2 60s Bass 6 in Lake Placid blue. It's really good. If you want a Bass 6, this is what you're going to buy, unless you want to pay really expensive prices for the actual era specific ones. This is the next best thing. But, and it's a big but, from what I've played, you might as well be better off just settling for a Squier. I don't know if the Squier Bass 6 is still available. I don't know if they've pulled it because this has come out, but you know, it would be hard to, you know, recommend one over the other when you're looking at nearly 3 times the cost. Yeah, it is 3 times the cost from the Squier version to this. And that is the big kicker here, is how much money do you want to spend? And in good conscience, I can't recommend this. I can't recommend this over the Squier. I'm going to say that in this video now. But when we do the 3-way shootout, you're going to see and see it. But that is the big consideration. I think, you know, if this would have been in the £800 mark, or you know, I think that would have been a fairer price. But you've got the Squier version in the sub £400 region. You know what I'm saying? It just it's really difficult. It's really difficult to recommend this. I only got it because I'm a really big fan of Bass 6s, and I wanted to see what this configuration sounded like on the Bass 6 Fender edition. So I've got the pawn shop one's different. It has a different pickup configuration, and it doesn't have the switch in it. It has just a 3-way, is it 5-way switch? 5-way switch. So it's a different switching configuration to this, and it hasn't got the strangle, the frequency strangle bass cut switch. So yeah, that's the only reason why I got it. It was just to try it. I don't know if I'm even going to keep it. It's a tricky one. This one's a real tricky one, because I like it, but it's like, yeah, I like it, but come on, Fender, come on. And that's where I tend to look at these things, and more of the price and performance. You know, is this 4 times as better than the Squier? No. And we'll leave it there. Thank you for watching. What a lovely colour guitar, if you like Lake Placid blue. But lovely bit of rosewood though. I'm glad they got rosewood back. Thanks for watching. There's no more thing to say. By now you know what that is. That is ta-ta.